6 months ago, 4 billion Ghana cedis was stolen from my shop. The sales girl at the shop claimed she had nothing to do with it, but she was the only one at the shop at the time the money got missing. So I had no other option than to get her arrested. This is not my story, by the way. It was sent to me on Instagram. Let's call my sales girl Sarah. Now, a little background story. Sarah was sent to me by my auntie from the village. I wanted someone to help me out at home and at the shop. My auntie told me she was very respectable and hardworking. She has been with me for 2 years now, and I have nothing bad to say about her. She works very hard and she's very respectable. Sarah receives an income of 1,000 Ghana cedis every month. She doesn't pay any rent because she lives with me, and I feed her 3 times a day. I even buy clothes for her occasionally. Now, before Sarah was arrested, I did everything in my power to get her to tell me the truth about the money. I didn't even want her arrested. I just wanted my money back. And I begged and begged for my money back, but she still claimed she was innocent. I had just received the money from a customer that morning. I had counted the money to see if it was up to the amount. Then I put the money inside my handbag. I trusted Sarah totally because I had left huge sums of money in my handbag before, and I always come back to meet the money. So I was beyond surprised and shocked that she stole this money. And according to her, after I left the shop, the only other person who came to the shop was my friend. She asked of me, and when Sarah told her I was not around, she left the shop. No one else came to the shop till I returned. So obviously she was the one who took it. What didn't make sense to me was why she didn't run away with the money. Did she really think I'll believe her when she tells me she didn't take the money? I called the police since she didn't want to admit she took the money, and she was arrested and taken to the police station. I was hoping the police would get the truth out of her since she didn't want to talk. My friend who had passed by the shop earlier came to my house later that evening when she heard the news. Let's call her Rita. Now, Rita was a very good friend of mine and we go to the same church. I was feeling very guilty for arresting Sarah. I was thinking I should have at least tried to solve the issue at home before involving the police. But Rita assured me I did the right thing. She said arresting her will make her speak the truth. But a month after Sarah was arrested, she was still insisting she was innocent and that she was not the one who stole the money. Part 2 is I visited Sarah in jail 1 month after she was arrested. I begged her to return my money. I told her I will forgive her after I get my money back, and she will not have to stay in jail. I just wanted my money back. But she just went down on her knees and cried. She told me she was innocent. I realized she was not ready to tell me the truth. So I told her she was going to rot in jail till I received my money and left her. All this while, Rita was calling to check in to see if Sarah had spoken the truth. When I told her Sarah was still lying, she suggested we arrest someone close to Sarah, and that would definitely get her to speak the truth. I was against this at first, but the money was very important to me, so I had no other option than to do this. But before I did this, I invited her mom from the village. I told her what Sarah had done, and she appeared very shocked to hear this. She told me Sarah was not a thief, and that she never even stole her coins when she was growing up as a child. She said there was no way Sarah would ever steal from anyone. After explaining that she was the only one at the shop when the money got missing, her mom agreed to go speak to her to return my money. But even after her mom spoke to her, Sarah still insisted she didn't take the money. So I had no other option than to get her mother arrested too, hoping this would make her speak the truth. 2 days after her mom was arrested, I received a call from Sarah. She told me she didn't take the money, but she was willing to work for me for the rest of her life to pay me the money back. She just wanted me to release her mom from jail. I was very surprised she was still lying despite her mom's arrest. I couldn't sleep that night. I felt very bad for arresting the old woman. She was innocent. It was the daughter that was to be blamed. The next day, I asked the police to release her mom. Rita told me releasing her mom was only going to make matters worse, but I just couldn't do it, so I had her mom released. Later, Rita told me she knew a policeman who could beat the truth out of Sarah. Sarah has been very stubborn till this point, and I knew leaving her in jail was not going to give me back my money, so I agreed. I paid the policeman to beat the truth out of her, and even after she was beaten, she still said she was innocent and that she didn't take the money. At this point, I was beginning to believe her, but she was the only one at the shop at the time, and the money just didn't vanish into thin air. Since there was nothing I could do anymore, I decided to forget about the money and leave her in jail. Now, fast forward a month later, Rita came to the shop to buy something. She was my first customer that day. It was only her money that was in my money drawer. I wanted to buy food, so I took some of the money she had paid me with. I noticed that one of the notes had some scribbling on it, and my heart skipped a bit. I remember the customer who had paid me the 4 billion cedis had told me a 6-year-old son had written her name on one of the notes when she was counting the money that morning. She wanted to know if I would still accept that note or if she should change it. I told her it was no problem problem, and we even laughed about how Kate will write on almost anything. I called my customer immediately and asked her to come over. When she came, I asked her of her son's name and showed the note to her and asked her if that was her son's handwriting and if that was the note she gave to me that day. She couldn't really remember the note, but she knew instantly that was her son's handwriting. The only question I was asking myself was how the note got into Rita's hand. I went to her house immediately and asked her if she was the one who took the money. She acted hurt and told me she could not believe I could ever accuse her of something like that. I knew she would keep denying it if she knew I had no evidence. So I told her I had video evidence of her taking the money and that I had already given the video to my brother to take it to the police station. I told her I will ask my brother to return if she admits she was the one who took the money. She kept denying it, so I woke up to leave. That was when she broke down into tears and told me she would pay me back. She went into her room and came back with 1.5 billion Ghana cedis. She promised to pay the rest later that day. I stared at her in shock because I was beginning to think she was really innocent. I thought the person who had stolen the money had used the money to buy something, and the note with the Kate's name on it had circulated till it had gotten to her. So apparently that fateful day, she was coming to see me when she saw me counting the money from the customer. She had waited outside for me to leave, so she had seen where I had kept the money. She came later to ask of me from Sarah. Sarah had told her I was not around. Then she left the shop. Sarah had gotten up to use the washroom for a few seconds, but because Rita knew where the money was already, Rita had come back into the shop, taking the money and left again, and she did this in a few seconds. Rita went down on her knees and begged me not to tell the police about this. She promised to pay all the money in full. I called my brother to come stay with Rita till I received the full money that night. On my way out of her house, I called the police to release Sarah instantly. I don't know how I will ever make it up to her. Later that evening, Rita and my brother came to my house with only part of the money. Rita wanted me to give her more time to pay the rest of the money. She begged me not to go to the police. We were old friends who had been through a lot together. She just wanted time to pay the money in full. But how can I let her go scot-free after everything she put Sarah through? She even had her beaten even though she knew she was innocent. She still owes me 1.5 billion cedis. Do you think I should keep the police out of this because we are old friends? Or should I have her arrested for stealing the money? This follower needs your opinions, babes. Please drop some below.